Man is born broken. He lives by mending. The grace of God is glue. Eugene O'Neill. For most people in history, the end of the world was not a single explosion. It was a morning, a sound in the distance, a fever that did not break, a sky that looked wrong, a bell ringing where no bell should ring. They woke up believing tomorrow would resemble yesterday, and then it did not. Civilizations collapsed this way, quietly at first, then all at once. Cities burned, harvests failed, walls cracked, armies arrived, and entire societies learned how fragile they had always been. The world did not always end with thunder. Sometimes it ended in silence, in the lives of ordinary people who had no idea that history was closing around them. The Romans did not believe Rome could die. The people of Constantinople did not believe the walls would fall. Men and women in medieval villages did not believe a plague could erase half their neighbors. In every age, human beings carried the same illusion, that the future is stable, that disaster belongs to other people, and that the ground beneath their feet is permanent. But history punishes permanence. The Stoic philosopher Seneca warned that fortune behaves like glass, shining briefly before it shatters. Yet every civilization imagines itself exempt from collapse. Human beings build monuments, write laws, raise cathedrals toward the heavens, and slowly convince themselves they have conquered uncertainty itself. They never do. The Black Death did not merely kill millions, it transformed the psychology of Europe. Streets emptied, entire bloodlines vanished. Priests buried the dead until there was nobody left to bury them. The living watched the familiar world dissolve around them, realizing civilization was not a fortress against chaos, but only a temporary shelter from it. Thomas Hobbes later wrote that civilization exists to save humanity from a life that is solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. But history repeatedly reveals how thin that barrier truly is. One plague, one famine, one war, and the illusion collapses. In 1453, Constantinople watched its own ending. For centuries, it had stood as the final remnant of Rome, protected by walls many believed eternal. But empires do not disappear because they are weak. They disappear because all human creations are mortal. The people inside those walls could hear the Ottoman cannons in the distance. They could feel history closing around them stone by stone. They were not reading about collapse. They were living inside it. Perhaps that is what makes the death of civilizations so terrifying. Not the destruction itself, but the realization that the world can change faster than the human mind can accept. A medieval farmer could lose his family to plague. A city could vanish to fire. A kingdom could disappear beneath invading armies. For most of history, human beings lived beside catastrophe the way modern people live beside routine. Death was visible. Stability was temporary. Tomorrow was never guaranteed. And yet humanity continued believing the same thing. This time is different. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself constantly that all things fade. Empires, memory, even the names of great men. But human beings resist this truth. We crave permanence in a universe defined by decay. We want history to move forward forever, even as the ruins of older worlds surround us. Schopenhauer believed human life swings endlessly between suffering and illusion. Perhaps civilizations do the same. Rome fell, Byzantium fell. Entire peoples vanished into history, and through it all, ordinary men and women woke each morning believing their world would endure. They were wrong. The philosopher Blaise Pascal wrote that humanity fears silence because silence forces us to confront ourselves. But there is another silence history forces upon people. The silence left after catastrophe. The silence of abandoned streets, burned homes, empty churches. forgotten cities reclaimed slowly by dust and grass. We walk through ruins today and call them history, but to the people who once lived there, those ruins were home. Their streets were not symbols. Their walls were not metaphors. Their world felt as permanent as ours does now, until suddenly it wasn't. Perhaps that is the final lesson history teaches. Civilization is not permanent. Order is not permanent. Even memory is not permanent. Human beings survive by pretending the future is stable. Yet beneath every empire, every city, every ordinary life, chaos waits patiently. And one day, without warning, the world changes. For the people trapped inside that moment, it feels like the end of everything.